All right,
monsters.
everybody, welcome
on
to the
and
BlueLine
off duty.
Bowhunters Podcast.
The BlueLine
This is our
Bowhunters
first
Podcast
attempt
starts right
here
now.
at podcasting. We're excited to be with you here. It's all four of the owners of the BlueLine Bowhunters. Myself, Matt Steele, is the host. I have Lance Thompson here to my right.
Hello.
I got Bruno Mars, a.k.a. Jared Bruno, right here, catty corner from me. And straight across is Duel Thompson. How you guys doing today?
Lovely.
Fantastic.
We've been trying to get this together for a while now. We had some technical difficulties starting out. We could not get our amplifier going. Lance almost killed a guy. It was gonna be Bruno.
None of us
which
are
would've been bad.
electricians.
Yeah.
So anybody's listening, if you're curious to what happened. So apparently there's 8.4 volts, there's 12 volts, and there's 15. And apparently, for whatever, it will not work from one to the other with our preamp. It had to be the 12-volt plug. Because the 8.4 volt would not work.
There
and
are more volts than that. There's the DCs coming.
Well, you know what I mean.
Right. All right. So the whole point of this first podcast is just tell you who we are, what we do, where we're at. We're based out of central Pennsylvania, a lovely, beautiful PA. No one here calls it Pennsylvania. We all abbreviate it and call it PA.
PA.
And we are all police officers, which is what makes us unique New York, so to speak, as Ron Burgundy would say. By the way, if you hear us laughing, it's because this is unofficially brought to you by the Woodford Reserve today. We're off duty, so we like to have a few beverages and just sit around and chit-chat.
Have a good time.
Good time.
Little sipping bourbon. This is the first time I really tried bourbon, and it's pretty good.
You've never had bourbon before?
I've never had bourbon before.
The
I've had.
guy here that sounds like he's from below the Mason-Dixon line has never had bourbon.
I know.
I'm sorry.
You sound like you're straight out of Kentucky.
I might be somewhere.
You sound like you were birthed in an oak barrel.
I'm birthed in Yukon, Pennsylvania. Well, Greensburg.
Close enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I'd say let's go around the table. We'll talk a little bit about ourselves real quick, and then we'll get into how we were started and where we've come here in the 4 years, because this was all started back in February of 2017. Obviously, our namesake is the BlueLine Bowhunters, the blue line standing for the thin blue line, police officers, and we all have a passion for bow hunting, everything outdoors, so to speak, but we have a main focus on bow hunting. We love the stick and string. Myself, I'm a Pennsylvania State Trooper. I work out of the DuBois Station here. I'm a crime corporal, which is a horrific position. I don't suggest it for anyone. I'm basically not a cop anymore. I just walk around in a shirt and tie with a tiny gun on my waist and get frustrated at reports that I read. But no, I actually do like what I do. I hate the evidence room. That's the only thing I hate. But I got 6 years on, only 19 to go. I know, it's a long time. 53, but I do enjoy what I do. I think that we make a difference. So I'll kick it over to you, Lance.
Yeah, so I've been at my current position now at DuBois City for 7 years here next month, May. So almost a little under a month. And I am currently a certified DRE. That's about as high as it gets for me.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah, if you don't know what a DRE is, it's a drug recognition expert. So, you know, while everybody sits here and says we're drinking bourbon, I say we're drinking CNS depressants because I'm a nerd like that. So when people are on drugs, I go and I get called to try to figure out what kind of drugs they're on. But other than that, I'm a patrol officer, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man.
You handle everything.
And
I get yelled at by my corporals.
Right, corporals are jerks.
Yeah, there's a bunch of jerks.
Join the club.
Lance and I work out of the same town, so we get to work not so much together, but we cross paths every once in a while.
I wish I crossed paths with you guys.
But you need to move up this way is what you need to do.
You keep pestering me to do that.
So, Bruno.
I'm a trooper out of Somerset, Pennsylvania right now. Started off in Chambersburg. Spent 5.5 years out in Chambersburg. Went to Chambersburg. And then went to Uniontown for 1.5 years. And then got my transfer to Somerset for 6 years now. And I got 12 years on the job, and just have my transfer in now for the PA Turnpike. I need another change. Mm-hmm. And you got to get that change in every probably 5 years or you get burnt out real quick. But yeah, I got 12 years on as a state trooper with Matt here, and on to you, Duel.
Yeah, I'm Duel Thompson. Lance is a younger brother. I work for the Findlay Township Police Department outside of Pittsburgh. I've been there 5 years this year. Just patrol guy. I'm part of the critical incident response team down Allegheny County. Kind of like a SWAT team, if you will. Just a nicer term for our nice communities.
Doyle has the slick back hair and is the Navy SEAL of the cop world.
Right. I actually have balding.
Yeah.
Of everyone here, I mean, Lance has the worst hairline.
I have no hair.
He has no hair. Yeah.
Bruno and I still got it.
I have the second worst hairline, and then Bruno and Matt just are.
Yours is genetics, though.
I never thought I would ever have a receding hairline until now. Like, nobody in my family or my dad's side, they always had like perfect snow white hair when they got older. They always had like the full line up top. I'm getting the widow's peak now.
It's the job.
And I swear to God, it's the job, yeah.
Yours is in full retreat.
It is in retreat now. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me.
No, it's definitely the stress.
I have
job.
one gray hair that's sprouted. I'm pretty sure it's from work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, as we go through this podcast, you guys are going to hear us say a lot of stuff about work. You know, when a lot of people go to work, they deal with, you know, you might deal with an upset customer or someone who's not the happiest, but we are literally seeing people on their worst day of their life.
Every day.
Yeah. Every day. It's like
that's what we deal with.
The people we're going to, whether they're the victims or whether they're who's, you know, the suspect, accused, it's literally their worst day of their life. Some people we see a lot more
often than others. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the frequent flyers every now and then.
Quite a few recurring customers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of this podcast is us to be a little bit honest with you guys, and just so people get to see the perspective of us, because we all know what the world's like out there today, especially towards police officers. And I mean, it's a crazy world out there, and a lot of times, you know, people might have a bad experience with a police officer. I think the three guys I'm sitting here with the table are great guys, but you know, a lot of us come from 3 or 4 different calls where we just dealt with crazy people, and we show up at a house and we might seem angry or upset, but if you just went through what we went through, you would understand a little bit better.
Yeah, they always expect the nice guy, you know what I mean? But,
yeah.
I mean,
sometimes
it all depends.
It
just doesn't happen sometimes, you know what I mean? But
exactly.
But
I digress from that. Let's get back to the BlueLine Bowhunters. How did this whole thing happen? That was more you, because Bruno and I came in later. It was more you and Dual, Lance. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it started whenever we were at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg. You're better at times and stuff than I am.
When was that? Was it 2017?
I think it was 17.
Yeah, spring and stuff. Because we didn't even get into archery until, 16?
Yeah, I think it was like the year before. And then we went out there just to see, you know, what was going on. But
I never really got the whole thing of it. You know what I mean? Like, where did this even, like, where did the thought come from?
So I tell you what, I'm going to jump in here if you don't mind. I remember you posted a picture around your birthday, which I believe is October 30th, correct?
Yes, correct.
Wow,
okay,
that's nice.
It's weird.
That's why he's the numbers guy.
So I remember you posted a picture of yourself with cryptic gear on, and they reposted it. And I remember how happy you were. You were like elated. You're like,
yeah, that was really exciting.
And I think that was early 16.
And it was just cool. I think it was right when I was kind of starting to want to get into photography, and I had just picked up a bow. So Dual and I, we weren't brought up in a archery family. We weren't taught how to archery hunt. We were always gun hunters. That was our family. That's what they did. Our father was big into gun hunting, big into going out and hunting for geese and, you know, small game and different things like that.
But at least he was into that.
Yeah, but he got us into the outdoors, for sure.
Yep.
But we were never really introduced to archery. So it was something that I kind of wanted to pick up. And I think I'd even talked to Dole a little bit about it, because I think he had went out with some buddies or something and done it, and I really had no clue. And I remember, you know, the very first bow I got was like a Hoyt Power Max, and I remember going out my yard and trying to hit the target. Just the target at 20 yards for me was like, that was
amazing.
An accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I had never done it before. I had nobody to show me what to do. I picked up one of the $15 or $20 releases, the wrist releases from Walmart, and that's what I used. I really had no clue about it. So we went out and we did some hunting, and I remember I shot for like 3 or 4 weeks. I was getting it pretty good, and I felt confident with it. And the second day I went out, I shot a nice little buck with it. And from there, I was hooked. Like, it was just.
How'd you shoot that buck? Was it like a nice pass through? Like...
Dual obviously.
Yeah, right.
There's
I hit a little high.
How high?
enough that it dropped it in the tracks.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to let you take over from here. Go ahead. Keep asking the question.
So anyway,
Yeah, right.
so I shoot. I harvest this deer, and again, the second one was good. I hit him high the first time, dropped him, put a second arrow in him, and it was done. And but I was really excited about that, and it was really, to me, there was much more of a connection with hunting through an arrow than there is pulling the trigger on a gun. I feel like
And it is true. A lot of people get that connection, especially like new hunters going out and that have never experienced that before. I think that's a major plus in archery hunting and the time of year that it is. And
That's my favorite thing about archery hunting.
time of year. You're not sitting out there
You go out
freezing.
there, like you wear like a long sleeve shirt or a hoodie,
exactly.
and you're warm.
Yep. What'd you tell your dad? What'd your dad say then after that?
No, he was excited, but he was still not. We can get this will build because my dad actually, our dad just got his first archery buck this last season, and he
that
was
was
beyond
stud.
excited.
At
Yeah.
what? How old's that?
Yeah, he's what, 60, mid to late 60s.
You guys are great sons.
I'm
by the way.
horrible.
And that was a nice.
Can't
buck.
even remember my mom's birth. How old my mom is, but
November 4th, 54.
November 4th, 54. That would make him 67.
All right, so he was
Wow.
right? Yeah.
He was 67.
He'll be 67 this year.
So-
He's 66.
So I shoot.
When he
we
shot it, he
shoot
was technically 65.
I'm just amazed that you just figured it out in like click of a finger.
Did you shoot it before or after November 4th?
We don't
Wasn't
know.
it on his birthday? Did
It
you
was
shoot
on. Was it on his birthday?
No.
Nah.
You guys
Hey,
are funny.
for the story. For the story. Yeah,
Shot it on his
shot
birthday.
Yeah, he
So
shot his birthday.
shot his
birthday
buck.
What a great buck,
birthday,
yeah.
He shot this buck with a bow.
Okay.
Yep.
It matters a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
and that's so we did that. We went out hunting and we went to the Great American Outdoors Show. We're like, hey, we could post pictures and show our experiences and have something to share because like again, Dole and I and we talked about it, and same thing we talked about on the Keystone Wild Outdoors podcast is you have nothing. A lot of people have nothing to show of their hunting experiences. They have nothing to show anybody of what they did. There's a tree in Colorado somewhere that I said earlier that you're at the Keystone Wild Outdoor podcast that
They might have a cell phone picture or something like that.
if even that, like our father
right.
had a flip phone for many years, and didn't even know how to take a picture with it.
Right.
So
right.
there's a tree somewhere in Colorado out towards Meeker that has our initials carved in it, and we'll probably never see that tree.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started. We ordered a Nikon D3300 and a lens that didn't work, and it was trouble just to keep it on, and then you figure out what you need and what you don't need. Like, why am I zooming in on a deer and the picture's getting darker? We
I
didn't
love
know
his camera rants, by the way.
we didn't know about variable zooms and stuff and all that
Wake me
kind of
up when this is over.
all that different stuff. So
for all of you listening right now that just wondered what he just said and if it was English or not, that's the same exact thing.
Well,
Matt
we
and I
might get
think
some.
all
We
the
might
time.
get some camera nerds in here. We're trying to attract the
Absolutely.
camera guys.
I mean,
too,
this
but
podcast is going to be everything from the outdoors
think-
to police work to
I
camera
think
work.
you had that camera or lens the first time we went out on the pheasant hunt that I came with you guys. Was
that was a 6300?
Was that the
6300?
Did you have a?
Talk, I love it.
Which lens did you have? It was like an off lens.
No, it was an Irix. It was a 15 millimeter Irix. It was an annual
Maybe
lens.
that's what I was
Didn't you have
thinking
some
of.
kind
Yeah.
of adapter for a Canon lens?
That's how you had to adapt it, yeah, because it was an autofocus.
Good
It
job.
was
There we
manual.
That's
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
if he screws something up, it's
yeah.
like ingrained.
It was
in my mind.
it was a Metabones. I didn't mess it up. I hit focus. I'm just saying it was a
That's-
Metabones.
Didn't you drop
They
it
only
out of
make
a
those.
tree?
They only make those in Canon.
That was
so.
for the E mount. For the
No,
Sony
you're
E-mount.
mixing stories up now. Now we're mixing them up. So
Well,
back
yeah.
to the original story.
Okay.
So we had a
Get us back on track.
Nikon camera. Lenses didn't work for them. Finally started getting that figured out. Dole and I are in the tree together. This is the following season. And a doe comes in. He's got it all framed up. He's like, I'm like, you good? He's like, uh-huh. What was it, 20 yards?
Mhm.
I pinwheel this deer. So much better than my first deer,
I was
right?
about to confuse stories again.
This
Go
was straight through the heart at 20 yards. She only ran another 30 and she died. And I look back at him and he's got like the face of like, you just took a lollipop from a baby. Like he was so upset. He's like, the battery died.
Oh,
So we had bought an off-brand battery grip, thinking, oh, double the batteries, double the fun. And it
Duracell.
disconnected and it wouldn't work.
Turn off, it disconnected.
Yeah, like disconnected from the body. There was a short in it. So when he hit the record button, but when I went to release, it just shut off. So we didn't get it.
I don't think the deer was framed up. So instead of me just thinking like, I'm just gonna leave it here because I knew he was gonna yell at me regardless. So I like went to move the camera, and as like I'm moving the camera stops. I keys it like full draw, and then the camera turns off, and it goes.
oh
Whack.
man!
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember like taking the camera and giving it like a little, like, wake up, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he looks back. He's like, did you get that? I was like, huh. I didn't get that.
man, what?
Because he even said, "Nice shot," and I look back at him. He's like,
Oh no,
it shut off."
what's with you and cameras shutting off on you?
I don't know. Yeah, that's happened a couple times.
Yeah, that the Archery,
when
yeah.
Arkansas, my camera, we filmed.
shutting
It
off.
kept like an hour of film, and that was it.
We know not to take.
Well, we've
dual
learned a
out.
lot.
Yeah,
I mean, let's
right.
get just so everybody knows, we've entirely figured this all out on our own to where we're at so far.
Oh, it's not
YouTube
figured out yet.
videos. Like you
Oh,
can
a lot
learn
of
anything
YouTube.
off of YouTube.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like we
So,
took a course or
if
had
we-
anybody to shadow.
If we
Trial
fast
and error.
forward to the next deer you shoot on camera, or attempted to shoot on camera, what happened that time? So I was filming.
So that was
again.
with my Bowtech.
Yep.
So so that one is when my bow blew up.
With the camera.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, so my bow blew up on that one. Yeah, that was an unfortunate it's not even that it was Bowtech's fault. It was a local shop that I had strings and they want, oh, hey, we'll put your strings on for you. And everything they did was through a hooter shooter, but they didn't check the timing. And actually one of the pins wasn't,
So the limbs didn't actually.
the limb stop wasn't even in the top cam.
Thank you. We can thank Nick for finding that out, by the way.
Yeah, there was no limb stop in it. So, and I still don't know how to work on a bow. Like I can shoot it, and I know if there's something. I'm learning more about it as we go, but I still don't know how to like take my bow apart and put it back together. Like I don't do that stuff.
I mean, it's even been years for me, and I'm still learning on that behalf. But I'll show you.
But that was something that I'm out trying to shoot. I don't know why my arrows are hitting all over the target. I thought I had it dialed down. I was trying to watch some different stuff and reading up on it, and I was getting some consistent groups. And we went out to hunt, and I was holding dead center on this deer, and I drew back, and when I let the arrow go, it 2 feet over this. It was high enough that the deer never even lifted its head from trying to chew whatever it was chewing on the ground. Like it just stood there.
Yeah.
I looked at him. I looked at the bow, and I was like, something's not right. I hung it up. So we go back home, and the next day I'm trying to shoot arrows and figure out, and I think it was like the second or third shot as I pull back, it sounded like a limb snapped. And I look up, and I see that the limb's delaminated and everything. Well, here, long story short, we took it down to Pittsburgh. He's got a buddy who, he was one of the top Bowtech dealers in Western Pennsylvania. He took a look at it, and he told us what was wrong with it. There was not a limb stop in it. It wasn't tuned correctly. There was a whole bunch of issues that threw the whole bow so out of sync that it just destroyed the bow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I know that they did have issues with that during that course of that time frame too. But
They definitely did, but I can't even say it was Bowtech's fault
Right.
because
couldn't really.
it shot fine before the strings were put on.
Right. Yeah.
After the strings were put on, I had a ton of issues. And
All
then
went out. Yeah.
with the cams being so far out of sync, you can't imagine that it would have.
So you got into bow hunting. It was fun from there, huh?
Yeah.
So just to reel this back,
Here we go.
I'm
Thanks,
the
Matt.
reeler.
Yep.
So you guys go to the outdoor show.
So we go to the outdoor show.
2017.
We're trying to drive home, and we're trying to come up with a name, and BlueLine Bowhunters somehow popped in my head.
Into your head.
Yep, popped into my head while I was sitting there at a gas pump, pumping gas into the car.
I thought it was my head.
Told Dool
I
what
think it
was
was.
told Dool what was going on. He's like, "Yeah, I love it. It had a nice rhyme to it." And there was another guy. He's had to move on, career and family and everything's taken him a different direction. But it was the three of us, and then with our, you start to learn the people in your area. That's how I got to meet you, Matt, is through my wife, who's also a trooper.
Mm-hmm.
She works with you. She knew you. She explained kind of what was going on. You guys saw that picture that got reposted by Cryptech.
Right.
And he was like, you were like, I want to be a part of it. So I was like, sure.
Well, I remember
Why not?
specifically, I told your wife I had an idea for a T-shirt. And the idea was hunting monsters on and off duty.
Yeah.
And I told her that.
We made that a shirt.
I think she said that to you, and you're like, well, if you're interested and you're good with numbers, why don't you be our financial guy?
Yeah.
And it was pretty much game on from there.
Yep.
Building it up, huh?
So then there was 4. And then we tried to start an online group, and we were trying to get more people involved. And again, it's been a learning process. And we had a group of guys, and most of them we didn't even know who they were. And we were like, hey, let's give this trail camera away. I believe it was a stealth cam, but let's see who can take some pictures to try to help us out doing stuff. So we did a contest.
Right.
And here comes Bruno.
Bingo.
I was in
Nice
charge
shining
of
armor.
the Facebook at the point.
This is going on behind the scenes with BlueLine Bowhunters. My buddy, who actually I work with in Somerset, I have to give credit to because he's the one that said, hey, you got to check these guys out. BlueLine Bowhunters, it's right up your alley. They're looking for somebody that can take pictures, and they have this photo contest going on. And
now, have you always taken pictures?
No, not always. I actually bought my first camera when I was stationed in Chambersburg, and because
Where was that?
Chambersburg,
Okay, thanks.
because I didn't see any end in sight, because I was out there for such a long time. They initially tell you the 3-year transfer thing, which was in effect at that time, and then they lifted that whenever I got back, and now it's 1 year. But long story short, I was out there for 5.5 years, had to move my fiance out, which was just my girlfriend at that time.
Is that your wife now?
Wife now, yep.
Nice.
And
Good job.
yeah,
I always messed that last part up.
yeah. So I mean, it was just I bought my first camera, and the actual first photo that I took with that camera was my wife's slippers posted up on our just bedroom closet door, posted just standing up there, and it was kind of like a meaningful picture because she wasn't there with me at that time. You know what I mean? And I sent that to her as if they're just empty slippers there, without her.
That's very romantic.
So yeah, I got to kind of throw that out there.
It's
But
like
that was the
Shakespeare
first picture I took with that A65. It was a Sony. I'm devoted Sony right here, boys and girls.
That's the first Sony camera that I bought.
Yeah,
was
the
an
A65.
We didn't even know each
We're
other.
about to
No.
go down another deep
Here we
hole
go
of
again.
Camera
Talk.
We're meant to
Hey,
be,
yeah,
man.
it's like-
yeah, right.
It's yin and yang.
You guys want to hold
Yeah,
hands
yeah.
on the table? That's fine. We gotta move on.
Well, I mean, I felt his foot a few times every
So
year.
anyhow, we have this brand ambassadors page. We start doing these contests.
photo
And here
contest.
comes Bruno.
Annoying me. I'm running the page, and it's just every 15 minutes,
Bing,
Jared Bruno
bing.
posts a new picture. I'm like, all right, yeah, your pictures are cool, but can you stop? Because I get
That's
push
funny.
notifications, and my phone keeps going off.
Yep,
Well, you
I
blew
did
it out of
send
the
a lot.
water, man. We had a point system. You had 978 points.
The next person had 3.
I was worried too. I was like, man, I don't know if
You
I'm going to
weren't
win this or
worried.
not.
You weren't worried. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm not even going to try.
That's
So
what-
Meanwhile,
that's what it is.
behind the scenes, we're like, we need to get this guy on our team.
Yeah.
How do we convince this guy or talk him into this?
I would like to know the behind the scenes of that because I never even heard that side of the thing. I don't think.
I think it was us just being like, this dude takes really good pictures.
Yeah, I think it was like, hey, we got to get somebody else who can take pictures and help make content. And this guy does such a good job that we should probably just get him to be a part of it. Because it'd be easier to just it all be us versus trying to.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Lance, but when this whole thing first started out, we didn't really have a direction. We wanted to do stuff right and do quality.
I mean, if we're going to be honest, I still don't know that we necessarily have
we
a
still
direction.
don't know. Yeah, we still.
We're
It
going
changes.
in a direction.
Yeah, it changes all the time. You know what I mean? Because everything's you kind of figure it out as you go.
Right.
And
But
I think that's with every company out there.
But with
Unless
our
you-
job too. I mean, our
Right.
job. I mean, part of the draw, I think, for me anyway, and a lot of people you talk to that are in our job, it's such a dynamic field
Yeah.
that you're constantly doing different things.
the
So-
ultimate thing I think amongst everyone is we want to show everybody that we're the same as everybody else out
We're
there.
just regular guys.
We're just regular guys, and we love the outdoors.
Yeah, we love to hunt. We got families.
And we want to get more people involved in the outdoors. We want to get
100%.
if we're able. I think if we're able to get more law enforcement or whatever, involved in that, or maybe the first time shooting a bow like you did or you guys did, involved in archery.
Yeah, I got a couple guys that want to go duck hunting this year that don't hunt at all.
But that
That's
doesn't
awesome.
involve a bow. We're the
But
blue line
still,
bow
it's
hunters.
still
It
great.
doesn't
They're
matter.
going
out.
They want to get outside. That's what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Exactly.
Don't
yeah.
don't puff his chest up too much. It's not that great.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's pretty good. I like. But anyways, yeah. I mean, if you put a bow in anybody's hand, I truly believe that they're going to enjoy it, unless they have a bad teacher. But being the Blue Line Bowhunters, we have to associate that with bow hunting and archery. I'm a number one fan in archery because archery is my background.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up shooting bows my whole entire life. I shot competitively for 8 years. And this was kind of like my calling when you guys reached out to me. I'm like, and my buddy Durazio, he was the one that said, hey, this is right up your alley. I think kind of joking about it, but he saw that it kind of took off from there, and everybody kind of started to take me serious whenever, I started taking pictures, because it's kind of like one of them things like you're in our world of law enforcement and you're with these big, you're badass dudes, and you come across like, yeah, I want to be a photographer. You know what I mean? They're like, what the hell, man? You know what I mean? Like,
guy's an idiot.
yeah, like what? A photographer? Like, he's a corny camera out of here, man.
Yeah.
Like, But
Absolutely.
I think that then it started to take me seriously whenever they saw the track I was taking and, the avenue that I wanted to go, and then reached out to you guys after that contest. You guys gave away that stealth cam.
You
and
still
I was
got
like,
it?
I still have it. It has a bear hole, a bear tooth right in the sensor because the bear got a hold of it and chomped on it. But it still works. It's a stealth
cool
cam.
picture?
It still works. No, it's a furry picture, but it's like all blurry and stuff. Yeah.
Now, I mean, since that time, you jumped on mid 2017,
Right at the tail end, I think.
early
Yeah.
2018. I mean, since then, I feel like we've come leaps and bounds. The company has come a long way.
Yeah, I mean, we went from having cameras with lenses falling off to, we
have
all have
legit stuff now.
we all
Yeah.
have decent cameras now. And again, it's not about the equipment. I mean, you can go out with anything you want. You just got to be creative, right?
Yeah.
And we're all working on our creativity, but we all have some of that within us. And
It's
you
just
you
getting
can't be
out there.
limited by what you have. You need to do the best that you can, and we definitely did that. I mean,
I had the A65 with a kit lens, and I bought the extra. I believe it was the 55 to 300, the beer can lens. And the lady at LA Cameras in Chambersburg recommended this kit, and all I had was the 18 to 55 and the 55 to 300. So that covered me, but it was a variable f-stop. Wasn't good for video, but I could take some pictures with it. You know what I mean? And that's what we started with. And you can take some excellent pictures with, your Canon Rebel T6i with some kit lens and show people what you're all about, getting the outdoors. And
it's about learning and
Yeah.
experiencing
Start
it,
learning
and I think a lot of people too are afraid. You know what I mean? A lot of people are afraid to grab a camera
Yeah.
and go try. And the worst thing you're going to do is take a horrible picture and you just
you learn
delete it.
from it. Yeah.
Right.
You just delete it.
Absolutely.
Like you're not hurting anybody's feelings. Like obviously don't go and advertise yourself as a wedding photographer and get paid $4,000 when you've never taken a picture in your life. That
Yeah.
wouldn't be good for you. But like go out in your backyard and take pictures of leaves and take pictures of your kids. Or take
I
pictures of
watched
your buddies,
probably weeks on end, hours a day. I'd get home from 3 to 11 stretch, and I'd sit in bed in Chambersburg, stationed away from everybody that I know, nothing to do. I'd be home by like 11:15, 11:20 at night, and from that point until like 3:30 in the morning, I'd be watching camera videos on YouTube. And I'd have to go back to work the next day at 3 in the afternoon. Like, that was what I did. Like, I tried to learn photography like that whole time that I was out there.
And you guys, Peter McKinnon, I know you guys have talked about him a lot. Big influence on you guys.
Big influence, but he came along later. I actually watched another guy, and I can't actually remember his name because his videos have been like since taken down on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And he was like so thorough, and I'd get on. He had like this. It was almost like a YouTube series of photography, and he took you from point A to point B and like drew it out. But if you can find that today, Peter McKinnon's like older videos was a big influence on, I believe, myself and Lance.
Yeah, I still tend because Bruno does take a ton of pictures. Like, I mean, a lot of the pictures you see are Bruno's on our Instagram, our Facebook, and then, the rest of us, we kind of filter in and we kind of, pick up where we need to pick up. Not that we can't take pictures, but, we fill in where we can. But I also watch a lot of Gerald Undone. That's another guy on YouTube that if you're really interested in knowing what a camera can do and what a piece of gear will do.
Yeah, he's very technical.
Yeah, like he can really break things down for you and explain it to you, and it's been helpful for me because, I mean, the setups that we have and the picture profiles and all that different stuff, it's all things that
Hey,
they
Duel
help,
just bought his first professional
Yeah.
camera this
Yeah.
year, the A7 III.
While we're talking about cameras, yes, I brought my first
Did you take a picture with that camera yet?
bunch of them. Here's the thing, though. As Matt would say, we could do an entire podcast sometime on probably cameras.
Absolutely.
I
Why
plan on
don't-
not being here. I
why-
plan on it just being Bruno.
Why don't we reel
Lance.
this back to, so we came up with BlueLine Bowhunters, Bruno's here, then what?
Well, so the direction
You're
of the
doing Matt's
company-
job.
Yeah.
Right, I appreciate that. The direction of the company, it was never to get on TV or become famous.
Still not. Nope,
and
still
it's
not.
it's not what we're about. We want people to know, like, hey, cops are people too. We're not barbarians that go in and take people's guns or take people's rights away.
We're just having fun. You know what I mean? Like,
We have a job to do, we do it, and then we like to cut loose and have fun just like everyone else. We love being in the woods.
and this is a great way to decompress from our day, basically.
Absolutely. I mean, I love going to the woods after getting off work and just going out there, you and your thoughts. And I mean, I think the thing that I never anticipated, I just thought we were going to be a bunch of guys posting pictures on Instagram, and maybe we would get a couple hundred followers, and that would just be it. I never pictured it going where it has with the partners that we've done. I mean, can you guys speak a little bit on the partners we've done so far?
We've got Diamondback was the very first one.
I could see this going the whole way to, there's no end, basically.
Diamondback been instrumental because they're not like, you keep, there's different contractors and people work for each other. And they make you do specific things, and Diamondback's been just nothing but helpful. It's never even about them. Like they're like, hey, try to do this and try to do that, and they're always giving you tips. And
they like the creative.
They've helped us out a ton. Yeah, you know what I mean.
We wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for Diamondback right now.
I 100% agree.
And that was at the Harrisburg show.
Yeah.
I talked to Andy out there for the first time at the Harrisburg show.
Yeah, shout out to Andy. He's the man.
Yep.
I think my goal anyway was to be able to take pictures and make some videos and have fun, and one, to be able to go film Bruno whenever he goes and does his dream hunt, hopefully someday, and the same thing with Dole, and the same thing with Matt, and the same thing with myself. So one, we have epic pictures of things that we did, not just good pictures, but like I want to have like epic pictures to show my kids, like, this is what the wilderness looks like. This is what that trip did. Like, this is, I know just what
like,
it was,
fortunately you and I live close enough that I'm able to have you. If I shoot something, I call you. I'm like, dude, I just hit a buck last night.
Let's go.
And I have this epic picture of me in the morning light with this buck. And it's just, I love that picture, man. It's just a gorgeous picture.
But aside of that, we also got one, what with your dad?
Yeah, right? I like that one of your dad.
You and your dad hugging when you shot that buck? Because, that was
that
like a family affair for you guys.
Oh, yeah. My dad and I were tracking out there. You were with us. And I mean, just having your best buddies, and my dad, obviously. My dad's my big influence. My dad introduced me to the woods at 8 years old. I remember carrying a thermos full of hot chocolate, walking out to the deer stand. We never made it to the scaffolding because he shot this 8-point. Biggest buck of his life. It probably scores. Sorry, Dad. It probably scores like 7 inches. Right. This is back in this is circa 1994, 1995.
94. That's funny.
I mean, the time length on this, and my dad. I remember him holding this buck, shooting it with a 30-06 on the way to the scaffolding in the morning. He's like, Matt, this is the biggest buck I'll ever shoot in my life. He's since shot like 140 class buck archery hunting because we got into archery later. I didn't get into archery hunting until I was 18, and then I became hooked.
Matt's our big buck hunter here. Just FYI.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
5 years in a row. Not that I'm bragging, but humble brag. Anyhow.
Well, since I shot my first buck, I haven't shot one since. So who's got the better streak?
Happens.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about streaks on shooting bucks, it's got to be me because I've never shot one with a bow.
We got to get you on.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Go hunt with Matt.
Yeah. I haven't killed a buck with a bow, and I haven't killed a turkey.
Period.
Ever. I shot one.
He did shoot one.
I rocked one time. It disappeared in like a rubber bottom.
He was so disappointed. You were young too. You were like what?
I was like 13 or 14.
I was gonna say like 14.
My dad's like, hey, stand here. There's your turkeys down here. They're gonna fly right down the hollow to you. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like 10 turkeys come flying, and like 13-year-old mind's like, okay, which one do I shoot? So finally, I pick one. I pull the trigger. It falls out down in this like ravine. I'm like, it's got to be down there. Dad's like, if you shoot something, don't move. Well, Dad shows up. Where'd it go? Down over there. Well, probably get up and ran. Why don't you move over there and shoot it? Well, because he told me not to move.
I mean, everybody might think that we're like these monster hunters out there.
No, we're not. By no means.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time, we're either hunting public land or land that's basically public, but it's private. But there's so many people on there that it's just pushing deer everywhere.
Everybody's allowed to hunt. I mean, by no means are we professional hunters.
Yeah, we don't have land. We don't have any. We're just a regular Joe like everybody else out there, and we struggle just like everybody else. And
last year was probably the first year I actually had an opportunity to shoot a buck a few times.
Yeah,
I got a glimpse of that one massive 9-point we had. So anything else that was normally. So all years, like first buck walks in front of me, it's legal, I'm shooting it.
Yeah, we say that every year.
And then it's like how it happens, we get this glimpse of this one really nice buck, and then everything is out the door.
Well, I think to our listeners / viewers out there, I think there's something to be said for that, because we're not professional hunters, but here we are. We have partnerships with Diamondback. We hooked up with Huntwise this year. We hooked up with Prime this year. We've had great people like HHA.
Yeah, I mean,
we've worked with Bloodline Fibers. I mean, we have these great companies, Sawyer Outdoors, all these companies that have wanted to work with us, and again, by no means are we professional hunters. Far from it, actually.
Yeah.
But we never claimed to be either. You know?
No,
And I
that is
think
very
that was
true.
our conversation at the very beginning. It was like,
And it's
well,
not. I mean, some people might think it's because we're police officers too, but it's not. I mean,
No.
we actually try behind the camera, and we try we work for the things that we
Absolutely.
have. You know, it's not like throwing any type of name or anything up. But go ahead, Lance. What were you
yeah,
saying?
no, you see a lot, and I think that irritates us because we've been a part of different companies, which we're not going to mention. We're not going to mention
Absolutely. We're
any
not here to
names.
bash anybody.
But we've been a part of groups that we've since moved from. That it also gives in policing. It's a bad taste, right? Like it's a bad thing to be doing when you're saying, well, not to brag, but then
Right.
you show what you did at work.
Right.
Like
You're calling me out on saying that I shoot
right.
a lot of bucks. I get it.
Yeah. No, like when we leave the job, though, I think for the most part, when the four of us leave the job, we leave it. Like it's
Absolutely.
there, and I'm now at home. And I'm
Yeah,
doing
that
my
shit's
thing.
still there.
Like,
That's
it's-
nowhere near me.
Yeah, it don't come home with me, and I'm also not going to use that to try to get something. I'm not going to say, "Well, hey, I'm a police officer, so can you give me?" Because you see that a lot. I mean, you see a lot of professions,
I
Yeah.
hate that.
and it's really annoying when you see that, and when you see people like, "Hey, not to brag, but I did this,"
And
I
we
did
rarely
this, and I
even
did
bring
this.
that up.
Yeah, we
That
don't.
rarely
that
is even
doesn't come up
brought
in any
up.
of our conversations.
No.
A lot of people don't even know what blue line even is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I would say out of the four of us, we hardly bring up the fact that we're cops. I think for
No.
the people that out there that know it, they find it interesting, which like the podcast is to bring some of that to light and
Right.
share some of those stories, And we're going to share some stories in future podcasts, but yeah, 100%, man. That's
yeah, but like I said, it's never been a hey, what can you give me? It's always been let me earn it from you.
let us prove it.
Give me an opportunity to let me earn it, and we've put the time.
But I
in
think
and
that
we've
all
tried to
ties
earn it.
into the community that we belong to as well, because
Right.
like we're meant to be workers, and we're meant to prove ourselves.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Absolutely, and we're always digging. So, and I mean, so from here, our company's evolved, and who knows where it's going to take it? Who knows? This might be our last podcast. It might suck.
Yeah,
People
definitely
might not listen to it.
One
Yeah.
and done. It's like
Might
it's
be
like
one and done.
what was the name? What's the name of that band? I get knocked down, but
Chumbawamba.
But I get
Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba. Yeah. You know what?
I mean,
We're gonna get flagged on YouTube. now
Real
because
quick
of
story
that.
on that. That was the first explicit CD that I bought. And I actually brought it back from Westmoreland Mall, and my mom looked at it and saw the explicit tag. It says, not happening. It made me take it back, and I had to return it at Westmoreland Mall. I was probably like freaking 23
You
at the
rebel,
time.
You ended up buying the Sugar Ray one, didn't you?
Yeah, Sugar Ray.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of. Now, I knew Lance was going to be a cop when I was about 8 years old. So that's when I used to download music on your computer, right? I downloaded an album from some
Napster.
Nah,
yeah, it was definitely
LimeWire?
I think
Yeah,
it's
we had,
LimeWire
at the
or
time we
something.
went in, we had to tell how many songs we downloaded from Napster
Yeah, I
to
remember
be
that.
allowed into the state police.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many songs do you think you downloaded illegally or something? That was
Yeah,
part of the question
yeah.
in the packet. Yeah.
I was like
I
93.
can't think of
Yeah.
the name of the band right now. They have that "Burn Through the Ditches" song or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Burn through the
Yeah, that
ditches
one.
and- Yeah.
what band's that? think
Isn't
of
that
Someone's losing
isn't it
their
Rob,
mind.
Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie?
Yeah, so I downloaded this Rob Zombie thing. I
I'm a
come
Rob
home,
Zombie fan.
and my mom is pissed. She
Yeah.
goes, she's like, Lance told me you downloaded this music, and blah. I'm like,
That's when you knew he was going
that's
to
what
be
he's
a
gonna be a
cop.
cop right there. Boom.
Right.
Snitched on me for downloading music he was
That's
probably listening
hilarious.
to. You know what he did? I guarantee he took that music, burned it onto a CD, deleted it. It was like, hey, mom, guess what Duel downloaded? Puts it in his back pocket. I would guess.
I think my favorite part about this podcast is going to be the stories that come out about
Oh, yeah.
you two growing up.
oh,
Yep.
That's going to be great.
We can dig that up. Yep.
Yeah. We'll be like your therapist.
Yep.
well, hopefully it'll be coming. You
Yep.
never know.
Yeah.
You
This
never know.
isn't going to be a once and done. We're going to get some questions from our viewers, listeners,
Absolutely.
and stuff like that, and go from there. Get more people involved with archery, and
More people are involved with archery. Get more
Cameras.
people involved with cameras.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I think
Getting
we get
people to
people
take the
more
first
involved
step
in
to
outdoors
anything
in
they want to
general.
do. Yeah, well, anything. I mean, anything that you want to do it.
Yep.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, absolutely.
that's the thing. Because
We all kind of have our own little niche of what we like. I mean,
Listen.
other than you two camera people.
especially being on this job, you see, it's no secret. You see death, okay,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
you don't know when it's going to be your last moment here on this earth. This could be it for me, but starting right now, get out and do what you want to do, because there's no guarantee for tomorrow. There's none.
You never know.
Nope.
Absolutely. I mean, at our barracks, we just lost a trooper, 45 years old.
Exactly. Yep.
45 years old. He's working. He's backing a car up in this parking spot.
Boom.
Massive heart attack.
Yeah.
Gone, man. I mean, 45 years young. I mean, for me, that's 10 years away, and that's scary.
Yep.
Only have 10 more.
And you got Dole over here on start tripping coming out of Humvees and stuff.
That's right. I still got a while. That did happen. That was bad.
Story for later.
Story for later.
We'll get to that later.
Well, I tell you what, guys, it kind of seems like a good spot for us to end this thing. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Wanted to shout out one thing to you. Our friends at HuntWise have given us some elite memberships. We have an elite membership card to give away. So be checking out our Instagram, our Facebook for that giveaway.
We have a 5,000 follower giveaway, and that's on Instagram. Put something together here because I'm going to go home and doctor up a picture and post that here this week. I'm not sure exactly when this is going to air, but that's going to be found on our Instagram page, and it'll be open there for a few weeks, and we're going to pick a follower. They're going to win, obviously, the elite membership to HuntWise and a few other goodies that
I think it's safe to say if we say we'll pick a winner by what, into April?
Yeah, let's do April 30th, huh?
Do we do a live?
Do a live.
We could do a live. We'll do an Instagram live.
Duel's going to do a live Instagram.
I will do an Instagram live announcement.
Yeah.
Me and Finn will do a live Instagram.
Yep.
Awesome.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do to get entered into this?
Well, I'll post that up on the stories and in the post on Instagram. It'll
So
be.
if you're listening, you got to go find that.
It'll be a HuntWise post. You'll have to find that on our Instagram. You can also follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We're going to launch some more videos this year on YouTube. But for this giveaway, it's going to be like a like, comment, tag, share it with your friends. We're basically going to try to get our name out there a little bit more because you know how the algorithm is on social media. That doesn't like us outdoorsmen too much. But yeah, we're just basically going to try to push it.
Well, big thank you to, as we talked about before, the people supporting us: Diamondback, HuntWise, Prime Archery, HHA, Sawyer Outdoors. Am I missing anyone, guys?
Hunt Vault.
They've been awesome with us too.
Hunt Vault,
Bloodline fibers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Their strings are awesome. You don't have to wax them, which I love.
They don't. They are waxless strings.
Less work for us, which is awesome.
And we can get into more of that in future podcasts. We can talk about
more techie like bow stuff. Bruno's big on that. We'll have more camera stuff for you camera nerds out there. But if you want to learn how to kill big bucks, I'll teach you that.
We're going to be building bows, taking pictures, and killing, hopefully, big bucks.
Absolutely.
If there's something you guys want to hear us talk about, feel free to comment on any of our Instagram posts.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
Guests you want us to try and get on here? We're going to try and get a few different guests. I know Andy Campbell at Diamondback said that he'd be happy to come on.
Yeah, let's rock whoever we can.
So learn more about that. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Catch you on the flip side.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. We're going to end each one with a cheers?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Check out the BlueLine Bowhunters on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or their website, www.bluelinebowhunters.com. Thanks for listening. Until next time, watch your six